Let's see. What am I talking about here? Perfectionism. Make your own kind of music. Sing your own special song. Make your own kind of music, even if nobody else sings along. Hi, this is actually take 2. Thank you for watching Unlikely Courage with Alicia Johnson. I've missed you guys. It's... Let me just toss my hair a little bit more. So yeah, getting into this YouTube thing is still an adjustment, and my subject today is on poisonous perfectionism paralysis. Being a perfectionist and avoiding the poisonous perfectionism paralysis to keep it from stopping you from, as I like put my notes back here because I don't want you to see them because I'm a perfectionist, but to keep it from stopping you from progressing in your life and from doing things. Exhibit A, perfectionism paralysis here. You probably can see that I haven't filmed the video since before Christmas. And the reason for that is because I kind of rely on Shani and the lighting and the music and her editing because I kind of am not quite feeling comfortable enough to do it on my own. You know, I could, except for the fact that I'm kind of freaking out a little bit because I've been talking to some really important people, and you know, I do want it to be perfect for you guys, but at the same time I'm like, you know, I've got our agent that I'm talking to, and I'm starting to talk to some big names about like speaking and collaborating and things like that. I mean, good grief, Shani's got 75,000 top followers, and so this is a big deal too, and so I want everything that I do to be top quality, and so I, paralyzed, didn't dare do a video without her help because I need to work on that. Anyway, so perfectionism, let's talk perfectionism. The main reason I'm doing it is because you guys asked me for it in the live stream. I knew I needed to do another nice video, and Shani texted me today. She's like, let's do your next video. I'm like, yay! And I get here, I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. So, talk to you guys, and you said you wanted to talk about perfectionism and guilt. I think I'll talk about the poison of guilt in another video because I think this one is sufficient. I mean, I've got some stories that I'll share with you and stuff like that. So, starting with a little bit of a history, I think perfectionism, for me, when I think of someone who's a perfectionist, I think of someone who is pretty much perfect and does everything perfect. That's not necessarily true. So, my story about how I realized that I was a perfectionist, I'll tell you a little bit about my life. And like when I was a little girl, my room was messy and I didn't really know what to wear cute clothes wise, and I didn't think I was very pretty because I struggled. And you know, like, the funny thing is, like, looking back, I had those tendencies all along. So I think one thing with perfectionism where it can cripple you and keep you from enjoying life or getting in the way of life is thinking that you have to be perfect in order to play, in order to show up, in order to be accepted. You have an extra high standard of yourself. Perfectionism doesn't mean that you've got everything almost perfect, which is what I used to think. So anyway, a little bit of history, and you guys will hear more about it. It's a big part of my life and everything like that, but like, I realized this when I was in my 30s, and as I've been learning more about my grief and the research and things like that, with my dad's death and some issues that I've had growing up and everything like that. But this is really sad, but it's the truth. I always thought I was a second-class person. I always thought that in order to be acceptable, to be worthy of the basic blessings in life, to be worthy of acceptance from anybody, that everybody else had to be happy, and I had to be meeting everybody else's standards. And I dare say a lot of people deal with that, you know. But anyway, so growing up, I was always kind of beating on myself, and it got to the point where it's like I wasn't good enough. You know, it was taking too much work to be like them, and I was trying so hard to be them that I wasn't able to enjoy just being me. And so anyway, go through junior high, or actually elementary school, and then I was an emotional eater big time, and I got chubby. And if you guys look at my body dysmorphia video, that kind of goes a little bit more into my weight gain and things like that. But I was bullied on a daily basis in the 6th grade, being told how fat I was and how ugly I was and how, you know, things like that. And let me play my violin. But it's, you know, I'm also realizing that it's something a lot of kids go through, you know, and the people that did that, I love them now. I'm actually really good friends with a lot of them now, even from elementary school. Yeah, still in touch with people from elementary school. It's kind of crazy. But so there was that. So you think perfectionist, like I said, would look close to perfect. And so of course I wasn't a perfectionist. I wasn't anywhere close to that. So I grew up, you know, getting bad grades, not really thinking good things about myself. And then I went to my freshman year of college, where I was on an equal playing field. I started noticing that guys were noticing me. I started noticing that nobody was better than I was, and it was really cool. Like, it was weird going from being this shy little, you know, insecure, nervous thing all growing up to I'm just like everybody else. And it was an amazing feeling. So then freshman year of college, so went to my freshman year of college down in school, little town in Cedar City. And then we thought that my mom had cancer. And so I decided to move home, and a lot of things fell into place. You know, I'm going to talk more in videos about, you know, I know that we're responsible for our happiness. I know that we're responsible for our lives, but I do believe in divine intervention. I absolutely do believe that there is a path, even though I still complain about my path right now because I still live with roommates. But still, I do believe there's a path. And some things fell right into place where, long story short, I found myself in beauty school. I didn't really know how to do hair that well. I didn't really know anything about beauty school, but things fell into place in a way that, like, you know, some really cool things happened. Like, my cousin met his wife through beauty school, through a series of really interesting events. So as I'm telling this long-winded story, I was in orientation at beauty school, sitting there going, oh, what am I doing here? I don't belong here. I've never done hair. All these girls, you know, comparing myself. Let's talk comparison, guys. Whew. You want to talk about poison, comparison, that's a whole other video. Or maybe it's this one, I don't know. But I was just like, I've never done hair before. I don't know makeup, I don't know fashion, and these guys have all been doing it their whole lives, because in my orientation class, everybody would be like, I've been doing my mom's hair since I was 5. And, you know, all these people who were just amazing at it, and then there's me. And getting anxiety as I was doing the layered cut, and as I was doing all these things. And I remember at, I think it was week maybe 4, orientation class goes for about 6 weeks, and week 4 I finally just broke down. I was always the last person to finish. I was always, you know, and I was so embarrassed. And I remember sitting out in the hallway crying to my orientation teacher, and she was just like, you know, I finally told her, I'm like, I don't belong here. I'm not, what am I doing? I might as well quit. And then almost, yes, beauty school dropout, let's start singing Grease. But still, like, yeah, I was so embarrassed at how slow I was. And then I remember she looked at me and she's just like, well, the cool thing is, it's just going to be perfect like everything you've ever done. And that's when it kind of clicked that I am a perfectionist. I enjoy the fact that I know that I can make things nice, and that I've got a good eye for things. And so that kind of opened up the doors to the rest of where I've been since, and also a piece of my identity where, you know, I have a good eye for things, and I'm confident in that, and I know what's beautiful, and I know how to make things nice. Perfectionism isn't all bad, but at the same time, when it starts to paralyze you, because along with that knowledge came, you know, just a lot of different things. Do I do hair now? It's not worth the money for me because I don't enjoy it enough to have it be exactly how I want it to be. So there are other things I want to do with my life, including makeup artistry, which that led me to makeup artistry and becoming a freelance makeup artist and everything like that. Another fun story. I'm bragging about myself, but you know what? I'm kind of proud of my accomplishments. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, I forgot to tell you, with beauty school, this is a big deal for me, and I don't have a pin anymore, but I was the first person in my orientation class to be put on the design team, which is, you know, attendance and high marks and things like that. And I guess one of the reasons I'm sharing this story is not to be like, look at me. It's more to kind of motivate you guys. It's like, these are things that these are talents that I didn't know that I had. They were things that I didn't feel adequate. I didn't feel adequate in a lot of things. And so I definitely encourage you guys to get out there and try new things, and know that just because you haven't really had success with it in the past doesn't mean you can't moving forward. So yeah, I was the first person on the design team. I was the first person to graduate. So then fast forward a couple years, a couple crappy jobs that I'd had, realizing that I didn't love doing hair, I got hired to work at Dillard's at the makeup counter. And funny thing is, I didn't really know much about makeup. I was natural, like totally natural. And after about 3 weeks of my job, my boss came up to me and she's like, Alicia, you sell makeup, will you please wear it? I had to learn the basics on how to do that. Well, long story short, I ended up being like making side money and making a living as a freelance makeup artist. And so, you know, again, I want to encourage you guys to not be afraid of doing things just because you didn't do mommy's hair since you were 5 or whatever. So again, there are some good things in being a perfectionist. But my co-author, Bridget Cook Birch, I've been to several of her seminars. One of her main things she says is better done than perfect. And so one thing I want to encourage you guys to do is look at your level of perfectionism and make sure that it's not getting in the way of you living. I mean, even in day-to-day life, I mean, you can find yourself standing in front of your closet and going, okay, these clothes don't fit just right, so I'm just gonna stay home and watch a movie. Or guilty, I've done that, I admit. But, you know, or even just daring to get out there. It's like, better done than perfect. It's the best line because it's just get things done. Believe in yourself, know that you're talented, know that even if it's not completely perfect in your eyes, it might be amazing in somebody else's. The last thing I'm going to address as far as perfectionism, well, a couple things I'm going to address. One of them is something that just kind of happened today. And also I mentioned it in my other videos another time. So, you know, as far as like the whole eating thing and feeling comfortable in your own skin and things like that, trigger warning, because I'm good at that here. My clothes don't fit the way I feel comfortable with them fitting. And 2 bodybuilders, friends of mine, I ran into one, and I mentioned that in my my video about emotional eating, so my last one, talked about that friend, and then I ran into another one at post-holidays, like, oh, Merry Christmas, I enjoyed my chocolate. But I ran into another one, and he's like dedicated and hardcore, and like the other one is too, but this guy is just like, woof, he's like a beast. And we were talking, and I was just kind of mentioning some of my fitness goals, and he's just like, you look the same. So my point is, we see the flaws in things that we do and the way that we are and things like that, but other people don't. And so my message in this video is that you can play even if it's not perfect. It's okay to show up. It's okay, you know what? I've actually started going out places without makeup sometimes and starting to relax and enjoy and things like that. It's okay to want things to be nice and perfect and beautiful and wonderful, but just don't let it cripple you. Know that you are wonderful and you're contributing and you're beautiful, and the things that you do, the fact that you're just doing them and contributing is more than beautiful and more than enough. And I think one of the hardest things to internalize is believing that we're enough in everything. And for me, it's just kind of walking a tightrope, because I can't speak for you guys, but for me, I think it's dangerous to get too complacent and be like, well, if you don't accept me exactly how I am, then whatever. I think that can be just as dangerous as if I'm not perfect, I can't play. I think you've got to find that happy medium, and as you find that happy medium, that's the way to finding happiness, is seeing the little accomplishments that you make and going, you know what? I love that crooked piece of pottery that I made because I had fun doing it, and look how quirky, that's me. Or, you know what? That poem that doesn't quite rhyme, that expresses my heart and who I am. You know what? That race that I ran and I walked a quarter of it, I still ran 3/4. I'm excited to share more videos with you guys. I'm going to start writing other things down, and again, I will start posting more, and here and there I will do some without Shani's help, but quite frankly, I love the fact that I've got this opportunity to be able to be here with the lighting and have her help and learn how to do this, because eventually I'm going to be editing them on my own. Thank you again for watching. I love you guys. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate you guys, you know, embracing and allowing me to be part of your lives. It's really, you know, here we've got Shani with her 75,000 followers, and I've got my 393, which, by the way, as soon as I get to 500, I'm going to do my first giveaway, so encourage people. And let me know what you want to hear. I mean it. When you tell me that, I internalize that, and I'm going to be sharing more things as the book is moving forward. It's really exciting. So thank you again for watching Unlikely Courage with Alicia Johnson, and I'm just going to remind you to let your fears inspire you, your fears of not being good enough, of not daring to show up because you're not quite perfect, because nobody is perfect. I believe as a Christian there's only one perfect person. Need I say more? Anyway, so let your fears inspire you to be brave and live. See you next time.